Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason Laporte. As always, my man, Zach Partridge in the house.
What up?
Freshly signed contract ready for November 14th.
Yeah, me too.
So we have a special guest today. It's Fighter Spotlight. We have a fighter that's fighting on the card along with you. We are welcoming Brandon Honsvick. Did I say your name right, Brandon?
Yeah, you did.
He's the current 135 champ for Fitcon, right? It's the Fitcon one, right?
Yeah.
Current Fitcon, and you have a fight set up at the Maverick Center on November 14th, correct?
Yes.
Sweet. So, who are you fighting, first of all?
I'm trying to remember his name. Boomer.
Aureliano?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, sorry.
So what do you know about Boomer? Obviously, we know about him, but what do you know about him?
Well, I've been trying to search him, and there's not much on him. Besides, I know he's going to be great at ground. Seems like he's well-rounded with Muay Thai and everything else. So, honestly, I don't focus too much on the opponent, as weird as that is. I'm just going to go in there and give it my best. I know that he's going to be probably my biggest challenge I've ever faced, and I look forward to the challenge. I think it's awesome.
Dude, okay, me and you are in the same boat here. We're starting in our 30s, and then we have to fight these kids. Like Boomer's what? How old's Boomer? Like 21?
23, 24, I think.
23? Okay.
He's younger.
He's a freak kid, right?
Yeah.
I think the guy I'm fighting is like 24, 25 years old. I'm like, feel kind of bad.
I'm going to
get beat up by him.
When Cody announced this fight, this was one of the ones that I had highlighted on there. For one, I watched you fight at the Fitcon fight. Super impressive fight. I loved it. And Boomer, the Twilla guys, a little close to home with us and Damage Plan. So I know a lot about those guys. I love those guys. They always bring, their fighters always bring it. So you're training out of Empire, correct?
Yeah, Empire MMA in Cedar City, Utah.
Big Steve.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
He is awesome.
So, but Steve recently moved to Vegas. So who's like running the show over there now?
So it's Ryan Phillips. He's an amateur MMA fighter. He stepped out of it about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And me and him actually met at another gym, and we've been following each other ever since. And
cool.
Without that guy, I wouldn't be in MMA. I would have got destroyed in my first fight, and he's just an amazing guy. He's awesome. So.
Very cool. Nice.
So go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say, so it's kind of a quick turnaround for you. How long of a fight camp do you normally have? Like going into Fitcon, how long of a fight camp do you normally have?
So honestly, my whole MMA career, like we were saying earlier, I'm 34 years old. I don't have a lot of time left. I obviously want to jump into pro as soon as I can.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get as many fights as I can. Last year, I fought 6 fights in a year. So I saw that. I was turning around like every other month. I think the longest fight camp I had last year was 3 months. And so honestly, about 2.5 months is usually good. Where I didn't take very much damage and everything else in this last fight, we just continued from the last fight camp. And I took 2 weeks off, and then I jumped straight back into it. So
what do you feel like the differences in fight camp is like? So you're currently 5-2, right?
Yeah.
What are the differences preparing for a fight coming off a win versus coming off a loss? Anything?
I'm trying to think, because usually I'm like super hungry when I've lost. The 2 times I have lost, the very first time I lost, I think, in 1 minute and 30 seconds. I had pneumonia and bronchitis, and I wanted to come back even stronger than I ever had. And I did. I ended up switching gyms and everything else. It drove me. I mean, my other loss in Montana, I changed my whole life around. I mean, everything changed within the couple months. But honestly, for this fight, I think I'm more driven than I've ever been. I mean, because I was originally supposed to fight for the Fitcon or the Fierce title, and then they changed it to the Fitcon. And it's amazing I won the Fitcon championship, but I want that Fierce title. I'm hungry for it. I want it. I think it will look amazing right next to the other one. And so I am. Like I said, I'm in a totally different zone than I've ever been in my whole fight career. When I entered that ring last time, there was something that switched, and it hasn't turned off. I think honestly, like I said, I'm more driven now than I've ever been this whole entire fight time.
Well, so you just started fighting back in really the end of 2018, correct?
Yeah. I was always told I couldn't fight. Everyone who knew me said I could never fight, that I was too old, that I was too small, I wasn't aggressive enough. Everything they could throw at me, they said, you can't do this. And I trained for 2.5 years before I went into fighting. It was a dream of mine, and I looked my coach in the eye and I said, hey, I'm leaving your gym if I can't fight. Next thing I knew, he had me a fight signed for Tough Enough.
Tough enough,
and,
yeah.
And I haven't stopped since. And so,
what gym was that?
Raven Self Defense Academy.
Okay.
Okay, don't take that wrong. Amazing person.
I got you.
We were actually great friends. We had a great relationship together.
I got you.
It was the other coaches inside of there. It wasn't just him. It was everybody that knew me just didn't think I could do it. And I kept pushing. I started beating the actual fighters in the gym. They started disappearing. And I started becoming the main fighter. And it just became, one day I was the main fighter in that gym. And so it's been an amazing experience. So
Man, go ahead, Jason.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I got all these. I'm the one with all the questions today. Usually it's Zach, Brandon. Usually Zach's the one asking all the questions, and I'm over
Do
here
your
talking.
thing. I'll sit back.
So, when did you actually start going? Like Zach? Zach's kind of got into this later on in his career. When did you actually step foot in the gym and say, "Hey, this is what I want to do"?
So 2017, it was, I want to say it was April. My daughter just came out of the hospital. My daughter has Down syndrome. She's the whole reason I fight.
Awesome.
Kids. My whole thing is be a warrior, fight for Down syndrome. And that little girl, I went day in and day out to the hospital every single day. She was in there for 6 months. And I started realizing I was living a life for everyone else in my life. Like, I know that sounds a little weird, but I was not living a life that I wanted. I was living it for everyone else. And I was fighting every single day just to keep my life going, to keep the kids happy, keep the family happy, keep everybody else happy. And I saw this little girl that had fought for 6 months, every single day for her life. She had heart surgery, she had G-tube, she had everything that could possibly be wrong, and she went through this. And I got this shirt that said, fight for Down syndrome. And I started thinking something's got to change in my life. And Raven reached out to me one day and he said, hey, we trained a couple of years ago. It didn't work. Something tells me you got to come in. And I had just prayed the night before. Something's got to change in my life, or I'm going to end up picking up the bottle. I don't know what's going to happen in my life. And so me and him started training together. I started going every single day. I'd take my kids in with me to do training because I didn't have anyone to watch my kids. And next thing I know, I'm getting better and better. We ended up switching gyms. I was helping him build his gym into an MMA gym. He started saying he wanted to do MMA. And next thing I know, like I said, it was kind of I waited 2.5 years to, or I think it was about a year and a half to really decide, hey, I want to fight. And I had an ex-sponsor at the time reach out to me, and he was like, hey, you got to fight. There's something about you. I know you're a fighter. And I was like, you're the only one who believes in me. And we started pushing it. And then next thing, like I said, I was fighting. So.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
it's so awesome, and it's so important to have people that believe in you, but at the same time, the most important thing is believing in yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Anybody who played high school football with me and stuff too, I was labeled as a soft wide receiver. I wasn't physical enough, and
Yeah.
dude, that's stuck with me forever. That was like that's one of my favorite things. How what are you up to now? I'm like, I fight in a cage. Like, you know what I mean? Like a bunch of my high school buddies. None of I was probably one of the last people they would say would ever do anything like that. And when you have that in you and you feel that, but you feel like you can do it, that fuels you like nothing else.
Yeah, it's a deadly combination, man.
Yeah. Well, I always wanted to be a pro wrestler, as weird as that is. So my dream was actually when I was a little kid, I wanted to be the champion in the Maverick Center, which was the center back then.
The E Center, baby.
So it's just crazy because I grew up in West Valley. And so going back to West Valley as a champion and then being able to have the chance to take another championship, it's a lifelong dream. So, and everybody told me, oh, you'll never do it. You're too small. Even that with fake wrestling, it was like, no one ever believed in me. No one thought I could do it. And so, yeah, it's amazing. I have all these people who were friends with me back then reaching out now going, I can't believe you're living your dream. So
that's awesome, man. Very cool.
Hopefully they were at your last fight and they seen what you did at your last fight.
Yeah, a few of them were actually. They thought it was amazing. They've been my biggest supporters. I mean, it's been great.
And that kid you fought, he had a lot of upside. He actually trains under Cody, right? If I'm not mistaken, that Mason Sorensen and his brother, I think they both train under Cody. So that kid had a lot of potential, a lot of upbringing. He still does. He's a young kid.
Yeah. And I was told he was a great fighter. I was told that I think I watched his 2 fights.
Yeah,
actually, my coaches ended up watching them. I barely watched it because again, I didn't want to look too much into a fight because every time I focus on something, the fighter comes in with something completely different that I don't even expect.
That's good.
So I was told to expect the best. And so I went in there with the attitude of I have to do everything I can to walk out as champion. And that was it. So, like I said, there was a different switch that night.
I felt that. My first title fight, I felt that. It's a real thing. I don't know. I don't know how you felt. How are your nerves before that fight? Because I don't know about you. I felt like I felt my title fight was probably my first title fight was probably the most relaxed I'd ever been because I just felt like I already knew I wasn't losing that fight.
See, and that's the attitude I went in with is I knew I wasn't going to lose. Like everyone, I always go in, oh, this is going to be a great fight. This is going to be amazing. Best of luck to the opponent. Mm-hmm. I went in going, okay, he's the best person I've ever fought. I'm going in there. I'm taking this title. And I was so confident. Like, I always fake the confidence. I mean, as a fighter, you try doing your best to go in there, look confident, do everything you can. Even my coaches looked at me and they go, you're ready. After the fight, they told me they'd never seen me that way before. They knew the second I walked out of those curtains that I was winning that fight because there was a different Brandon that was walking through there. I was confident. I was relaxed. When I did get up to the ropes, I did get nervous for a split second. And as soon as I got into the ropes and I looked my daughter in the eyes. And usually I always kiss all my kids. I kiss them as I'm walking out the entrance. And ever since I've done that, I've never lost. Every time I get that opportunity. And as soon as I saw her, she was clapping, she was giggling. And I looked at her and I went, all right, I got this. And my coach kept saying, focus on your daughter, focus on you, don't focus on him. You got this. And I had no nerves whatsoever. I knew I was walking out as champion, and that's all I knew. I had nothing else in my mind besides that.
Yeah, everything you just said, it showed in that fight. And I mistakenly, because I hadn't seen you fight before and I didn't know who you were, thought that, and I knew the Mason kid was really good because I'd kind of followed his first 2 fights and I knew he fought under Cody. So I was telling my wife, oh, this Mason kid's really good. His brother's fighting too. And then you pretty much made it look pretty easy. So I'm like, man, this guy's the real deal, man. And what's crazy is I started following you on Facebook after the thing, and I saw that you had a fight scheduled, and I knew the fights were coming up. And I text Zach, and I'm like, he's fighting for the title, and the only person I could think of for you to fight would have been Boomer, but I knew you guys were on different weight classes, so I'm like, well, maybe Boomer's moving up. I didn't know, but phenomenal matchup. Like, it probably could be fight of the night. Like, literally that good of a fight.
Hey.
No offense, Zach.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, I don't even know if I'm buying tickets from you, Zach.
Dude.
So the guy that Zach's fighting is a Marine, Brandon. So if you don't notice my flag back there, so I told Zach, I'm like, I can't pick against my brother, man.
Yeah,
I'll pick him. I want to be the underdog with everybody, including my co-host, an old friend.
See, that's the thing. I've always been the underdog, and listening to.
Ooh, I like it.
I like it.
Video that you guys were talking, I was like, wow, when did I become the person that actually would rise someone else to the competition? I never thought that would be me. So I mean,
well, there's levels to this game. We say it all the time.
Yes.
You hear it all the time. There's levels to this game. Once you get, you're going through your amateur career. Once you get your first one of these,
yeah,
that's the next step up in level, right? And there's a little bit of confidence and a little bit of swagger that comes with holding a belt because you earned it. And and not to mention too how other people view you. You win one of these, you got a target on your back.
Yeah.
You're the guy people are coming after, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a couple people call me out as soon as I won my first, won that belt. And but now I like where I'm at because now I'm calling for somebody else, right? I'm going after somebody else that just won the belt. So, but there are levels to it, and then you kind of get to the top of the AMI game, and then it's like, well, how soon am I going pro? You just said you're looking to go pro soon. What are your plan? What are your plans? Do you have a set number of fights that you'd like to do and then go? Do you have a time period? Well, what's your schedule look like for that?
Okay, so this is the way I set. 2 Decembers ago when I fought my very first fight, I said I'm giving myself 5 years to do amateur.
5 years.
I knew deep down I was going to win 4 fights in my very first year. I was going to hold the title by the end of this year, and that was my main goal. I knew that it would probably take 5 years is what I originally thought, but deep in the back of my mind, I knew this is my goal. This is where I'm setting. That was my own personal one. Everyone else, it was 5 years. So honestly, after this one, I want to take this, and I probably want to go pro right after. I originally I was thinking of going pro for my next fight. My coach kept telling me, "You're ready, let's do it." And then Steve reached out to me and said, "Hey, I got a great opportunity for you. Fight at the Maverick Center, fight for a championship." And I went, what better way to finish out my amateur career, fighting it back at my hometown, fighting in a place I've always dreamed of being in as a champion and walking out as another champion. So after this one, when I walk out as champion and after I prove that I'm ready, I probably will go pro after this, is the goal for me. So
do your thing, man. That's freaking awesome. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I would think that's a smart move. I think you win this fight. Yeah, I think turning pro would be the thing to do. So go ahead.
Well, and I know I think he's a purple belt. I think 2-stripe purple belt. I think this guy will be a perfect opportunity to test myself out, see how ready I actually am for that opportunity, because it seems he's one of the best, and that's why I definitely want to go against him, because it will be a great opportunity to prove that I'm ready to myself, and I don't care about everybody else. I'm not proving myself to anybody else but myself. and this will be the test for myself to know that I am absolutely ready.
Yeah, I think if you beat the current champ for Fierce and Steel Fist,
Yeah,
he's the current 125 champ for both those fight promotions. It's a pretty good indicator. It's time to take it to the next level.
yeah,
You guys are both. What's really interesting with this fight too is whoever wins or loses, I could see both of you going pro after this fight.
For sure.
I mean, it's possible, right? Like it's not like there's no picking sides or whatever, but it's possible. If things don't go your way that night for whatever reason, me personally, I would still view that as I'm sure it's going to be a competitive fight. It's going to be a great fight. Like Jason said, a lot would expect out, especially out of the amateurs. I mean, the pro card's ridiculous, but out of the amateur ones, it's going to be a close fight. All the amateur title fights, they're title fights. They should all be close, right?
Yeah.
As long as you know that the skills are there. That's another thing. We were just talking to Cody about Blanca, who's fighting my teammate Cole Faust on the card. And another one of my teammates, Tanner Hines, who just lost to the guy that I'm fighting and lost his last fight back in New York. Once you get to these amateur title levels, you might lose one or two here or there because like you're fighting all good dudes. Like now you're fighting the top of the top. And to me, it's not even about winning all of those. It's about just making sure you're competitive with all those before you know that you're ready to go pro.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do what's best for you. That's just my opinion. Not that it matters. I freaking podcast. Like
we just like to talk MMA.
Just talk. I talk way too much all the time. So I think that's great though. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've moved around with Boomer a little bit, and he's an awesome young man. And I think from watching your fight with Mason and him, it's nothing but fireworks. I mean, it's gonna be a great fight, and like that's what I expect from my fight too. Like I just think it's gonna be a fun fight. Like it's just fun. Like I'm not worried about winning and losing right now. Like I'm just excited. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's like the first like big because like Fitcon, the Fitcon fights happen and stuff, but like because of COVID and stuff, it wasn't really promoted like a big card. It wasn't like there was a lot of like hesitation, I think, to go all in with the promotion on it. Things like that. Like Cody, like this is gonna get turned out, and there's gonna be a big crowded there, and it's gonna be the first like real like legit card. Like not that the Fitcon wasn't, but it's gonna be promoted. It's at the Maverick Center, and I'm not trying to downplay the Fit card because that fight that night was a lot of fun. But this card's a big deal, and just to be a part of it it's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
I'm so excited to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the beginning of the
hey,
yeah, you guys both get the early fight.
You get in back line. I'm already fighting with Cody. I want to be the first fight so I can be done and go watch the rest.
I love it.
Exactly. You're already a champion. You should be later in the card. You just won, and Boomer's the champ, and it's a champ fight, and champ versus champ, and you deserve to be the last Amy fight.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll still get to watch all the pro fights, and that will be amazing. It's going to be one of the biggest cards I've ever been live at, and so I think it's going to be amazing. I'm a huge fan myself, so I can't wait to sit back and relax and watch it.
I always ask people, are you more of a fan or a fighter? Do you feel like you're more of a fan or a fighter?
So, as sad as this is to admit, before my very first fight, I hadn't watched MMA in probably 3 years.
Oh, interesting.
So you're a fighter. That's cool.
You're a fighter.
So, yeah, I knew I was a fighter, and I don't know how to explain this. I knew deep down that I needed to fight. I've been fighting since I was a little kid, and I mean,
you grew up in West Valley.
You grew up in West Valley.
Yeah.
Cape Town.
Well, even coming out here, my principal in my high school, he actually works at the youth home that I work at too, is the principal there.
Very cool.
I was always in his office. I was always getting in trouble for being the little kid that got in the big fights with the big 6 foot people. And now he looks at me and he's like, hey, at least you're doing it for the love now, and it's like, he's like, you're not doing it for anybody else but yourself now. And he thinks it's amazing. He's one of my biggest fans, and it's cool to see the difference now that what I've accomplished since then. So I think now I'm a huge fan of MMA. compared to what I was a couple of years ago. I've studied and I've watched and I've done everything I possibly can to get myself better, because I want to grow every day. I want to become the best fighter that there possibly is. I mean, if that's not the goal, then what are we doing it for? You know? And so I'm studying everything I possibly can. I see a move, I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And so I think I started off as the fighter. I'm still the fighter, but I am a huge fan. So
I wanted to circle back on something real quick and talk about that last fight, being in the ring versus being in the cage. What was that experience like?
So I actually built a ring for when I was over at Raven Self Defense, and we trained in a ring for the longest
okay.
time. And so it wasn't until after my second fight, right before I left, that I brought a cage into his gym. And so I had spent a year and a half inside of a ring compared to the cage, and I love cage fighting. I love feeling the cage up against my back. I'm sadistic like that. I don't know. But the ropes, it felt natural to me. The only thing that I realized was, okay, I'm punching him. They're going to stand us up. I got to get him out of the ropes. I knew I was going to my back. I knew he was going to roll me, and I welcomed it, which is weird for me. I kind of anticipated him rolling me, and I think it worked to my advantage, obviously. I ended up getting a submission that I never thought I would get a submission that quick. So it was completely different, but at the same time, it felt like home. So
nice. So have you guys gotten tickets yet? Either one of you guys?
Nope.
I haven't. I haven't even got the contract yet. I don't think so. I'm still waiting on that.
When we did the podcast with Cody, he was talking about that they were tentatively Trump might be moving it to the 21st.
I got
which I'm praying for.
So I was told the other night.
Why? It doesn't matter. You're not going to cheer for me anyways.
14th.
What's that, Brandon?
I was told by Steve the other night that it was on the 14th, and then I saw that Cody posted that it is the 14th. So
it's scheduled for the 14th, but there's another show that has the next weekend scheduled. If they are willing to give that up, I think Cody is going to try and move it. I don't know if that's official yet or not, but it's officially the 14th right now, but if there's an opportunity to move it back, that's, I guess there's a small chance that could happen. And I don't know about you. I don't know how your weight cuts go, but I would love an extra week.
Extra week would be amazing, but
I'll take it.
It's my boy's birthday a couple days before the fight, so I'd love to eat an ice cream cake. I won't even lie. But if I got to wait a couple extra days to do that, then we will. So
I don't care as long as it's before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's true.
My birthday's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. What, like 2 weeks, something like that. My birthday's coming up. I'm not going to eat any pie. I don't get to eat any cake or ice cream. It blows, right? But it's fine. Yeah. I'm like, my wife's like, what are we going to do? And I'm just like, it'll be fine. I get Thanksgiving. It'll all be fine. I'll be back up to super heavyweight in no time.
Yeah, this will be my first Thanksgiving in 2 years. I've always been getting ready for a fight. And so I'm over there with my carrots and everything else, and going down on the food, and it's been horrible.
I did that. My very first fight was on December 9th. And so I missed Thanksgiving, and I have never scheduled a fight to have to cut weight and do a camp during the holidays ever since. I won't do it. You want to make a career out of it, go pro, do your thing. That's cool. Like I said, I'll tell you first, I'm a fan first. I love fighting. I love competing. I love the sport. I am 100% a fan first. The holidays and eating comes before fighting for me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Eating comes first for me all the time.
Always.
Yeah, this last weight cut was hard because I'm usually fighting 145, so I came down to 5 this last time.
You're a big 135er.
You look huge in that fight. Yeah.
Big as me.
My coaches have been trying to talk me into doing 135 from the very beginning. I kept telling them, no, I'm 145. I'm not doing 135. And finally, Steve goes, hey, if you want the title, you got to go 135. And I said, all right. At the time, I needed the fight. I needed it so bad. It was one of those, when you're going through life, you just need something to look forward to. And I went, you know what? I want this title. I want this opportunity, and this is going to push me. And so I went to 135, and they go, congratulations, you're sticking there. So unless you could get bigger. So I don't know.
Enjoy the weight.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, do you have any sponsors or anything you want to give a shout out here?
Yeah. So to Body Soul, hold on. Body Mind
Get your
Soul
list.
Massage is Jackie Holocker in Hurricane, Utah. Curl Canyon Joint and Spine. Dr. Carr in Hurricane, Utah. I got TMS Trees down there in Cedar City.
Shout out to Jason and Michelle.
Yeah.
Good people.
So Jason and Michelle, amazing people. They've been so great to me from the day
They're
I
awesome.
walked into that gym.
Yep, they
They didn't
support
even know
local
me,
and
and
they're
they
great.
welcomed me with open arms, and they've been wonderful to me. And then Sun Warrior out here in St. George, Utah. They're the ones who do all my protein shakes, all my protein bars, everything that I've basically done for the weight cut, and it's been the easiest weight cuts ever since I've joined them. I love it, and I'm not just saying that because I'm sponsored by them. I honestly love their product. It's amazing. So
Cool.
I noticed you mentioned your Be a Warrior Fight for Down Syndrome. Is there a nonprofit type thing that you're fighting for? Or is there some way that people can help donate to this cause?
So by choosing my name for the fights, the percentage that will go to me goes to a foundation out here, Roots for Kids. They actually helped my daughter, and they've helped me, like parents that don't quite have the money, that need the support and need the help getting into kindergartens and preschools and learning how to handle kids with special needs. They work with all special needs. I give back to them. I've done self-defense with them, and any chance I can get, I try helping all the women in that group because they're amazing people. I give to them with my T-shirts. I give a percentage of that, and then the ticket sales. So if anyone wants T-shirts, reach out to Empire MMA. We'll sell the T-shirts there. Same with the tickets. Because I think we'll get the hard copies of the tickets. That percentage will go to them.
That's awesome.
It really helps them out, and it gives back to the community that I love out here. So that's the most important thing to me is I don't fight for myself. I mean, yeah, I have my hopes and dreams, but when I step in that cage, it's all for them. Like those little kids, I mean, I love them. They're amazing. When my daughter was born, I was told that my life would never be the same, and she'd be one of the worst things that ever happened to me. And I call bull. She's the best thing. Like,
Love it, man.
I mean, obviously, I love all my kids. They're.
Are they there?
Yeah.
Are they there? Bring them in. Let them come into camera. Tell them say hi to everybody.
So I love all my kids, but my daughter has brightened all of our lives. I'm missing the two youngest, the one with Down syndrome, and then my youngest son. But this is Logan and Abigail. And
What's up, guys?
They've been my biggest supporters. They train with me. My daughter, Abigail, she actually helps me teach the kid classes. She's amazing. I hope one day she'll fight. If she doesn't, then okay. But I know she's so good. She takes on the adults, and I think she's going to be amazing.
That's awesome, man.
So this kid is great. He just doesn't want to do it. So
hey, I get that. I have two boys too that are not interested in.
If they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it.
They can't do anything about it.
But at least they know how to defend themselves. At least even the baby, she comes up and she'll punch people in the gym. She thinks it's amazing. She thinks it's the best thing in the world. And
when they mess with him, she especially just smacks.
Yeah, if anyone messes with me in the gym, she comes up.
She comes up. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. She helped me teach the other night. I was teaching a class out there, and we had everybody in there, and everyone was oohing all over her and just thought that she was amazing, and she was trying to do the punching with us, and she's amazing. She really helps me become a better man every single day. So, and like I said, that's what these kids do. Even the adults. I give out a T-shirt every single time that I fight. I give it to a kid with Down syndrome or an adult with Down syndrome. If I can, I give out as many as I can, just because to see the joy in their eyes from just receiving something as simple as that and knowing that somebody cares. I mean, it brightens my whole entire world. It truly does. I try doing whatever I can. I've dedicated fights to them every single time I fought. They truly are amazing people, and that's who I fight for, is them. So
it's awesome, man. Well, you'll have to let us know when the shirts come out, so put me down for one. I'll pick one up.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well,
thank you.
Brandon, we appreciate you coming on, man. I'm a huge fan. I'm glad we got to talk to you, got to get to know you a little bit better. I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to see this fight. Super excited, everybody. November 14th. Don't worry, we'll be blasting out when the tickets are available, so you guys can all support these guys, Zach and Brandon and everybody else that's fighting on that card.
And thank you. This was an honor. It truly was. I appreciate you guys having me on your show.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate everything. So
have
right on.
a healthy, safe training camp.
Yeah, same to you.
Yes, sir.
Roger that. Take it easy, guys, and we out. In bro.